It does not taste okay. It tastes amazing.
Well, the CADE Reserve is always a special wine because really it's the best of the best off of our estate, and we're really looking for a unique characteristic in the individual blocks that we select for the reserve, down to the barrels that we select for the reserve. So typically it's block 2 and block 3, which are clone 7 and clone 337 off of the estate. I take those 2 lots, taste every single barrel within those 2 picks, and then pick out individual barrels that bring a little bit more blue and black fruits, the blueberry, blackberry, black cherry. And typically, there's some of my favorite Coopers that we work with that add a little bit of coffee and chocolate characteristics to the aromatics, but in the palate is really where I think the CADE Reserve Howell Mountain Cabernet Sauvignon shines. It's that texture and weight and density that you get. It almost has this like maple syrup type viscosity to it, but it has this really nice structure and intensity to it that is going to lend itself to aging, or of course enjoying it now too. So
it's delicious. Oh, we have questions from both. How Instagram.
Joey Pruitt is enjoying the 2013 CADE Estate Cab at his wedding.
Oh.
Says it's an incredible wine and wants to say thanks.
Oh, yay! Thank you. Congratulations.
I say to our winemakers and Danielle, when they are working through harvest and working these long days into the night, that their energy that they're putting forth to make these wines becomes a part of your wedding, of your dining room table. It's a big deal to us to be a part of that. And we're really grateful that you included us in the wedding.
Pretty cool.
Oh, Facebook?
Presley wants to know, what is the difference between a reserve and an estate, or what sets the reserve apart?
So yeah, good question. The reserve, for me, typically has more of those black fruit flavors, has a little bit more density and mid-palate weight, whereas the estate Howell Mountain Cab is much more red fruit driven. You get the raspberry, cherry, almost like strawberry characteristics. And for me, the difference between an estate and reserve is that mid-palate density and weight. On the estate tier, you kind of start with a big impactful punch, and then it'll wane on the mid palate, and then kind of slap you in the back of the head on the back. Whereas it's just across the palate, very intense and persistent and always there. So hopefully that serves that
And
way.
both wines are estate wines. They're both grown, bottled, and produced here on the property. Insta.
Colby Pritchett wants to know if you can do these live tastings more often.
Well, I guess we should, huh?
Oh, I mean, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good way to spend your afternoon, I'll have to say.
I don't mind enjoying these wines at 2 o'clock on a Friday. Every Friday.
It's not too everywhere, Danielle.
We will do our best.
Yes.
We'll do our best.
Yes.
Jennifer Howard Brown wants to know, they have the 2015 and 2016 CADE Reserve right in their cellar. Can you describe how they are different from what you are tasting right now?
Yeah, so the 15 Reserve Howell Mountain Cab was a much lighter crop vintage and a much, I would say, warmer vintage as well. Our yields in 15 were down almost 60%. So for me, that vintage sticks out because we were selecting blocks that normally didn't make it into the reserve because there wasn't a lot of fruit on the vine, and I feel personally that those vines had so much energy to give to the fruit because there wasn't so much crop load out there. There wasn't that competition, if you will. And so we saw some blocks that never made it into reserve all of a sudden go to reserve.
Wow.
Because they were just, the vines had so much energy to put into the fruit that they made these exceptional picks and exceptional wines. So 15 in general terms, more red fruit driven, more of that cherry liqueur, a little bit bigger tannin as well, a little bit more intensity. The 16s, a little bit cooler vintage. We had the addition of 13th Vineyard as well in 16, so that had a big impact. More of the traditional kind of blue and black fruits on the 16 vintage, a little bit more elegantly structured.
Did anything else special happen in 16, Danielle?
Well, yes, it did. I had my baby Blake, my first boy in 2016. So I was about 7 months pregnant when we bought 13th Vineyard, and it was a little bit of a challenge, just getting up all those hillsides and stuff.
So 50 picks in 80 acres while 7 months pregnant.
There was a lot of Tyler, Brett, can you go up to the top of the block and taste up there? No.
That's the part that doesn't wind up on the text sheet.
Yeah, that doesn't wind up on the text sheet.
Oh, we have another question from Instagram.
Wine Coffee Orchids wants to ask Danielle what her favorite wine to drink is, not including CADE, of course.
Ooh, like varietal, I'm assuming. You know, I'm a sucker for wines that I don't make. So I love a good Petit Syrah. I love a good Grenache, red Grenache. I love aromatic whites like Viognier and Gruner. I mean, just bring it on. Something, oh, John. Something that's different than what I make. So I do love a really good Rhone Chateauneuf de Pop. Total sucker for that. So I think it's fun to explore other wines that I don't get to make on a daily basis.
Another question from Instagram.
M. Dion99 wants to know when he should pop his 2009 CADE estate. He's wondering how long you think it'll hold up in bottle.
Good question. So, for 2020, drink it now. Yeah, pop it
What's
open.
on the grill? Oh.
I mean, it's gonna hold. It'll hold. But I kind of like the CADE wines in that 8 to 15. And I started in 2012, so I'm just starting to see my wines at that 8-9 year mark. So I'm learning a little bit as well as far as when these wines are best to drink. But again, I'm kind of the philosophy of don't wait too long. Just enjoy them. Crack them open. What do you think of this reserve then, Sandra?
Wow. Really, wow. The mouthfeel is like melting dark chocolate with acidity and brightness. It's not so heavy that you need a glass of water. It has longevity, layers. It's delicious.
Thank you. I also want to point out that we do bottle the reserve Howell Mountain Cap under both cork and screw cap. So you can partake in a little experiment as well. Have some friends over, or you know, in a while when we're out of this, when we get to
not tonight.
Not tonight. But crack them both open side by side and see if you can tell the difference. I bet you can. For me, especially with a little bit of age on these wines, there's a big difference between cork and screw cap. So it's a fun little experiment to try at home and see what you like. There's no right or wrong answer.
That's right.
I have my own opinion, screw cap, just kidding. We bottle a lot of our wines under cork, so obviously we're big cork fans too. But I do think that there's a difference in how the wines age under the different closures, and it comes down to your palate, what you like, your taste buds, as far as what you want to do from here on out, as far as your choice in closure.
Whatever you think is right. and what you should drink. I do say though, the wines under screw cap tend to age a bit more slowly versus the wines under cork. And who wants to age faster? Not me. Do we have another question?
Well, we need to give a shout out to Edwin Alfonso. He's sending us a salute from Puerto Rico.
All right.
He's representing our wines on the island, and he's proud of it.
Aw,
Thank
fantastic.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
A few people now have given a shout out to our hospitality team. So just a thumbs up to them. Said they had a great time when they visited.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
I told you I'd say it again. We do not get to do this without you. All the work we do in the vineyards and all the work Danielle does in the cellar, if no one enjoys it at home, it doesn't matter. So please come back. Please come visit us as soon as you can. Our hospitality is here to welcome you to our home.
Well, we're closed right now, the tasting rooms, but once we open, we'll be back up and running.
Yes, and our websites are open. If you want to enjoy any of these wines, they are available online and in your local markets, your local fine wine shops, as well as some of our local restaurants doing to-go and take-out.
Another question.
Yeah, a couple people have asked, since 13th Vineyard and CADE Estate are so close on Howell Mountain, what are the differences you find between the two properties?
Yeah, so 13th Vineyard is a much larger property. It's 82 acres versus CADE Estate at about 20 acres. And 13th Vineyard has 10 different clones of Cabernet Sauvignon, as well as a couple acres of Malbec and an acre of Petit Verdot. And believe it or not, just those, less than a quarter-mile distance apart, they taste really different. There's some different elevation changes, different row orientations, different microclimates within the 13th Vineyard that just, to me, kind of have a cumulative effect of changing the overall palate, structure, aromatic profile, density, weight in the wines. It's not necessarily me doing different things to the two different properties. I'm using the same yeast, the same barrels, although slight variations because I have to. They just, the micro picks that we're doing, Sandra alluded to that, of 50 different picks. It's literally walking every row, in essence tasting every vine, every cluster to identify, is this ready to go, and are the flavors that I'm tasting in the actual grape what I want in the finished wine. So whatever you taste in the grape, if it tastes like bell pepper and jalapeno, guess what? You're gonna make bell pepper jalapeno wine. But if it tastes like blueberries and blackberries, then you're gonna get those characteristics in the wine. So doing these micro picks, picking very small areas within a block, a 2 or 3 ton pick, 5 or 6 different times within a block, allows me to, I think, bring out the best those grapes and then translate it into a single bottling of a single vineyard that we're only making 300 cases of. So it's really the best of the best.
And I think the difference between good and great is this attention to detail. One of our owners says, be fanatical, whatever you do. And that's what we bring to the table, is this commitment to excellence with every choice that we make. Facebook.
We had a viewer, Jamie, say that she thought she saw something in the email about a percentage of online sales going to employees.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is so generous. Because some of our hospitality is closed, we are going to donate 10% of any of our online sales to support our employees that are not able to work their full-time positions. Really generous. Yes?
The Instagram community wants to do a cheers to our healthcare workers.
Oh,
Absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
As do we. You guys are our heroes. You are the front line. And wow, I hope that we can cheers you in person soon.
Thank you for doing what you do and supporting our communities, and we hope to reciprocate one day with a glass of wine for you. But we really appreciate you being on the front lines, and thank you for keeping us healthy. We'll try to do our part too. We're staying home, right?
We're staying home. And 6 feet away.
6 feet away.
Yes.
Social distancing.
Yes. Once again, we don't get to do it without you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. Thanks for coming to our home virtually. Hope to see you here soon.
Stay
Cheers.
safe, everybody.